Set to vote tomorrow on an economic plan to help workers affected by the outbreak. We welcome now Democratic Representative Donna Shalala from Florida. She's also former Secretary of the Health and Human Services Department. She comes to us from Capitol Hill. So, Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. You really have almost a unique perspective, having run HHS and now you are in Congress. What do we need as a country? What do we need from the administration and Congress right now to address this crisis?
Well, we've already passed an $8 billion plus bill to help fund the agencies that are working on coronavirus. Now we need to do an economic package, which must focus on families. You were just talking to Senator Tom Carper about the need for sick leave, but we also need to enhance unemployment insurance. We need to take a look at some of our benefit packages like the SNAP benefits, the old food stamp programs, to make sure that people have enough to eat if they have to lose their jobs or be out of their jobs for a period of time. It's actually illegal for someone to fire someone because they're ill. But there are a lot of people that are part of the gig economy, and so there must be a series of supports, and that includes free testing and free health care for those who don't have insurance. We need to take care of everyone who might get sick. This is a deadly disease, particularly for seniors and for those who have compromised immune systems. So we can step up. We're Americans. We know how to do this. And if it's money, we'll spend the money and protect people. I know that the administration wants to talk about protecting industry. Look, I represent the big industries, the big cruise line industries, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian Cruise. They're all in my district, and I care a lot about them and about the people that work for them. 150,000 jobs just in my district alone. So we have to talk to the cruise industries. We'll do that this afternoon. And of course, the airlines are hurting as well, but they've been very profitable over the last couple of years. So I'm not as worried about them. But I do think that we have to start by worrying about families, making sure that they have the financial supports that they need if they need to go through a transition.
You make such a powerful point, Congressman. On the one hand, you have people who are more directly affected, either because they themselves have to be quarantined or they have to stay home with children, and we have to protect those people, try to provide for those people. There are also people that could lose their jobs just because their companies come under real stress, particularly small and medium-sized enterprises, because as we see what appears to be a downturn coming, you can just have layoffs, not directly related to coronavirus, but indirectly related. Do we need to be prepared to step in, because we could start losing jobs, certainly in the cruise industry, but it could go well beyond that?
Yes, and there's no question about that. And in the $8 billion package, we actually had an enhancement for the Small Business Administration, loans to help people transition. I'm particularly worried about things like restaurants and other kinds of small businesses in my community that might need some help. We did include that in the $8 billion. We may have to do more. Whatever we need to do, we ought to do.
I want to draw upon your expertise as the head of HHS back under President Obama, President Clinton, sorry. How far behind this virus are we? There's a perception that we got off to a sort of a slow start with it. Is that fair, and are we catching up?
There's no question that we stumbled out of the blocks. We always have, because we don't have a readiness system in public health. We've been defunding public health. It's not only what the president did in terms of the White House, defunding the global health programs and some of the expertise, trying to cut the CDC. But more than that, over the years, we have not understood that we need to fund state and local health departments at a very high level, because they're our first line of defense, as well as deep investments in the FDA and the NIH, in the CDC. And we've been cutting these or not increasing these programs over a long period of time. Now we have to understand that there's another virus coming, maybe a year or two from now. I don't know its name, but we better be ready, the way we are for hurricanes in my community, where we have the staff in place, we have the systems in place, we have the resources in place, and if we need additional resources, we can automatically get them because of the Stafford Act from FEMA. So we just need a different level of readiness. That's our fault, every single administration, and we need to do it now because we can't keep ad hocing this. We're ad hocing it. Yes, the administration was slow. Yes, the President of the United States is stepping over the messages. But right now, we're trying to play catch up, and I think we're doing a pretty good job, particularly on testing. By next week, we ought to have all the test kits we need to be able to test the people that need to be tested.
So Congresswoman, finally, there was a perception in the beginning that President Trump really didn't want this to be a big deal, and he sort of played it down. In talking to President Trump, talking to Vice President Pence, talking to people in the White House, do they get it now? Do they really think that this is a really big problem we have to address?
They do get it. I don't know whether the president gets it. Every time he opens his mouth, he frightens me, and I know better. I don't know if there's a way to get more discipline in this president. It's just not a word that applies to him. But he is dangerous to our health every time he opens his mouth. Everybody else around him is trying to do the right thing. But the president is I just can't believe it. I've never known a president like this. I've known presidents that tripped a little bit and then corrected themselves, but I've never known a president that kept doing it.
Okay, thank you so much, Congressman. It's always great to have you with us. That's Democratic Representative Donna Shalala from the state of Florida. Coming up here, the latest on the sell-off markets are